much controversy tonight. It is a kind of handbook for lethal power against terrorists, even if they are American citizens.
By one count, President Obama has already used unmanned CIA drones to strike more than 300 suspected terrorist targets, even more than his predecessor. But today we learned just how much authority the administration believes it has to kill without trial or evidence suspected terrorists, even American citizens. A newly disclosed Justice Department document says American citizens tied to al-Qaeda can be killed if, quote, an informed high-level official believes the target poses an imminent threat. But the document says it, quote, does not require the government to have clear evidence.
All right, soon there will be government eyes in the skies. The Fed's considering drones to monitor everyday Americans going about their everyday lives.
Was killed in a 2011 drone strike. Human rights advocates say the Justice Department memo goes way too far and
justifies essentially a claim that the executive branch can be judge, jury, and executioner.
As soon as he became president, Barack Obama stopped CIA tactics like waterboarding that he considered torture. But this justifies outright killing of a suspected terrorist. How does dropping a bomb on an American citizen without any judicial review, any trial, not raise the very human rights questions or more human rights questions than something like waterboarding?
Yahoo, Google, Facebook, AOL, Skype, YouTube, and Apple. The newspaper has just released new information to back up their reporting. Tom Foreman is here taking a closer look. What's the latest?
This information is really stunning, Wolf, when you consider it. A first-hand experience with these systems and horror at their capabilities is what drove a career intelligence officer to provide PowerPoint slides about PRISM and supporting materials to the Washington Post in order to expose what he believes to be a gross intrusion on privacy. Quote, they quite literally can watch your ideas form as you type, the officer said. Now let's look at some of these slides here, Wolf, that were from this presentation, because they really are quite surprising. This is the overview slide. You'll notice at the bottom the date there, April 2013, very recent. Now look at what this thing is all about. If you move to the next slide here, you can see that they're talking in here about how communications flow from place to place on systems like Google and Yahoo, that they're apparently, according to this program, monitoring. And now look at the next part here. What is being monitored? This is the part that will most get people's attention. Look at that. There are the companies over there on the left, but what they're allegedly able to look at is email, chats, videos, photos, stored data, video conferencing, all sorts of things that people would have thought were private, that were just on their desktop. This is what is certainly going to put people up in arms to some degree, Wolf, because you look at that, plus look at the data agreements here that they made with these different companies. There are the dates there. If you look side to side, they're a little hard to see. You see at the bottom, 2007 up to 2013. That's the timeline of how they entered into this program with all of these companies that virtually all of us rely on all the time. Again, reporting from The Guardian and The Washington Post suggesting that all the coverage today about cell phones looks like the tip of the iceberg. Here's this ultra-secret program called PRISM they're reporting on, which has been allowing the government to look in on the desktops of computer users, if this report is correct, and simply see what we're doing, who we're communicating with, the things we're writing, the video messages we're exchanging, all sorts of things that, again, many, many computer users thought were private.
Apparently, though, authorized by Congress and the Patriot Act, authorized by a judge with these foreign intelligence courts, authorized, obviously, by the President of the United States. We're going to have much more on this coming up. We'll see what's going on, but pretty shocking information.
Right now, in America, someone is keeping a record of every call you make, who you call and who calls you, when you talked, and for how long. These records go back for years, and they can obtain this information on you or anyone else, and you'll never know. Someone is watching. That someone is the United States government. But how did this happen in a country where the Constitution protects people's right to be secure against unreasonable searches? And even more importantly, what can you do about it? This is the United States Congress just hours after the 9/11 attacks. Like everyone else in the country, they're in shock and they don't know what will happen next. They only know one thing: they need to do something, fast. The next month, Congress receives the Patriot Act, a 342-page document. The Attorney General, John Ashcroft, tells Congress they should pass this anti-terrorism bill in a week.
Virtually no one in this chamber have any idea what's in that bill. Why should we care? Well, it's only the Constitution. It's only individual liberty at stake.
The Patriot Act is signed into law just 3 days after it was introduced. Worse, buried deep inside the Patriot Act were provisions that sounded harmless, but were anything but, like Section 215. Its supporters claimed it would help the FBI find the bad guys. But over a decade later, the NSA and the FBI are misusing Section 215 to sweep up the information of ordinary U.S. citizens. Section 215 lets the government collect tangible things relevant to an authorized investigation. But the government now claims the records of every phone call you make, now and in the future, are a relevant, tangible thing. So Section 215 isn't just for suspected terrorists. The Bush administration claimed, and Obama agreed, that it could be used to get the call records of everyone in the U.S. Most members of Congress didn't know the law was being misused, and the program is overseen by a secret court where